Hi everybody, it's Kelly with Kelly Richmond Scrapbooking, and I am a Creative Memories Independent Advisor, and we're going to do a sketch today from the Creative Memories blog from January 18th, 2023. And let's get started. It's a fairly busy layout. So there's a lot of cutting and piecing to do, so let's get started. I am using paper from a really old paper pack. It's a Girl Stack pack, copyright 2013. So I've kind of just had these in my stash, but they're going to work great for the two photos that I have today. They're pictures of my little granddaughter, just these two pictures of a day that we spent together. So it will work perfect for this layout. So the papers are really fun. They're just these kind of really pretty soft tones in the, the really coral pink and yellow. Got some floral on the back. I didn't want it to get too busy with what I'm doing, so we're just going to use these pieces today. So the instructions start out, we're going to just use a piece of cardstock for a base. I'm going to use this gray cardstock. It was also from that same time frame from 2013. Isn't that crazy? But what we're going to do is we're going to use this as our base, kind of as our base, but also as a frame. So in order to do that, I don't want to, I'm just a little tiny bit of it is going to show on the side. So I don't really want to double stack it like this because it creates a lot of extra weight. Plus, it allows us to use this paper on the inside. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut out a square out of the center of this piece of paper and just use the edge for the frame of this layout, okay? So in order to do that, I'm just going to cut just an inch frame all the way around. And that's pretty easy to do. So all we're going to do is we're going to line our paper right up here on the 1 inch mark on this side. And there's measurements also on this cutting surface right here. So I'm going to put my blade in here at 1, and I'm going to come all the way down here to 11. And if you have your trimmer, your housing cartridge right here has this little line that pretty much tells you where the blade's going to hit. So I'm going to line that kind of up on the 1 and pull it all the way down to the 11. And then I'm just going to take my paper out, rotate it around, line it up right here once again on the 1, and then start where I last cut and pull it all the way down to the 11. And if it's not perfect, it's okay. I can just pull my scissors out and fix that if I need to. And I'm just going to do that on all 4 sides, creating this 1 inch frame all the way around. All right. So I missed a couple spots, so I'm just going to take my scissors and trim that. All right, and then we're going to set this aside for our mats for a little bit later, okay? And I'm also going to set that aside for a minute because we're going to then trim our base. We're going to have this, I wanted to use this pink cardstock, and this is actually the soft pink cardstock from our current line. And we're going to trim that, let's see, to 11.5. So I'm going to pull out my little arm here, go to 11.5. So I'm just going to trim off a 1/2 inch off of 2 of my sides. Now the instructions say to trim it later, but I'm going to trim it now. And once I start putting the little wave pieces on, you'll see why. I want to allow myself a little bit of wiggle room. All right. So now we're gonna next create the little swell pieces that go across it. Now I already, for sake of time, have already trimmed a lot of my little swell pieces, but let me show you real quick how I did it, okay? So this is our decorative trimmer. Now, as you can see, mine is really old. It's the very first version that they have. It's pretty similar to what they have now. The only difference is really the color. Everything else works exactly the same. I only have one blade on mine. I just switch my blade back and forth. When you purchase this new from Creative Memories, it's gonna have a blade on each one, on each for this. This is your wave side, this is your swell side, and we're gonna use the swell side today, okay? So I've already trimmed all of them except for out of this little scrap of coral paper that I have left. So to do this, now normally if you're gonna cut a swell, in order for this center swell to be like perfectly in the center, you would line it up just with one little square on the top and one little square on the bottom. And that way your swell is perfect. Okay, we're gonna do a little different today. Sorry, had to close my door. So we're going to start by putting the paper at the very, very top of the trimmer, okay? And I'm actually gonna move it in just a little bit because I don't really need a whole lot of it trimmed off. I'm just creating this first little swell, okay? And you just run your blade down it. And this one I'm not gonna need, I'm gonna set that aside because it has the straight edge on this side and we don't need that. We want the swell. And in order to create this swell, I'm just gonna move my paper over. Now, if I was to close it right here, see, it's gonna be perfect and it's gonna make this swell, but it's not gonna give you kind of that ribbon look where it has kind of some fat sections and some skinny sections. So all you have to do is move your paper down to the bottom just a little bit. And now you can see it's not perfect. I'm gonna move this over. I don't want it quite so thick, and you can vary your thicknesses on it. But by doing it this way, I'm gonna create kind of that ribbon feel to it. And so now I'm just gonna pull it down. And there I've got my little ribbon piece. And so see how it's kind of more fat here and skinny here? That's because we've moved it so that it's not perfectly centered to to the first cut. So this next one, I'm then just gonna move it up, okay? And I don't want it too thick, so we're just gonna tap that over just a little bit. And then we're gonna just trim it. Now my trimmer is older, and so it doesn't cut quite as nicely, so I go over it twice to make sure I got all the little pieces. So now we're gonna move it down. Now I have a little bit of paper imperfection down here at the bottom, but I'm not gonna worry about it because remember, this paper that we're gonna put it on is a ½ inch shorter than the full, it's 11.5 inches. So I'm not gonna worry too much about it. Okay, but we're gonna, okay, and I think that one went, oh, you can hear it. Okay, so then once again, we're gonna just slide it up to the top, move it over a little bit, and trim. Okay, and I want 5 pieces of this color. All right, so there we go. So that is the Creative Memories decorative trimmer. I'm gonna set that aside. Now we're gonna start assembling, okay? And I purposely did it this way so that we have a little bit of wiggle room with our strips. So it's gonna kind of hang over the edge, and that's okay. And I have it here on my 13 by 13 mat just so that I can make sure that once I put on my first piece, that it's straight. Because with these waves, it would be super easy to kind of get them out of sync, you know, or crooked. And before I know it, I'm going to be way crooked. Okay. So then I'm just going to put lay my second piece on here. And this is the prime example of, and it doesn't have to be perfect, because you kind of want to create that little swell in between as well. But see how it's not lining up perfectly here on these edges. So that's one of the reasons why I decided to do it this way. Let's do green so it's not looking like we're completely doing like a rainbow. And I'm just setting them on here for now. And before we put that one in, I have just this one, a little bit more that has the flower print. I figured that wasn't quite as crazy. So that one would work well on there. And see, this gap makes it really ribbony right there, which I'm really liking how that's turning out. I don't want it to completely match the swell perfectly, because I want to create that kind of that ribbon effect on the pink underneath as well. We're gonna change it up just a little bit. Let's put this in here. And that one. And then a green. Okay, you get the idea. So as you can see, this is a little tedious, the time it's going to take to do this. But I think you know what, this time let's do a yellow here. I don't want it to be like the perfect pattern. That's why I'm kind of changing things up a little bit. I still think the colors work really well together. This piece right here really is great because it has all of these colors in it, so it kind of pulls everything together. Oh, I forgot the green right in here. Okay, so you get the idea how cool this is going to be. And then once I'm all ready, and it's about how I like it, then I'll go through and put my adhesive on here. I think we'll end with this orange. Okay. So I'm going to use the repositionable tape just because it's just because I think it's going to be easier to do it that way. And I'm actually going to just kind of push these up a little bit. and put a little bit of repositionable tape down just in case I need to move things around a little bit. And I'm going to line it up. There we go. All right, let's get to putting this down. See, and there's that little imperfection right there in the paper. This is a pad actually, and so when you tear it out, sometimes it tears the paper, and that's exactly what happened right there. So, and it's just going to be trimmed off, so it's not going to be a problem at all. Now the repositional tape is really super nice because they're little dots, and it works great because it's only gonna stick. That needs to come up just a little bit. So see here, I put it down a little bit too early, not in the right spot. So I'm able to lift it back up. And then over time it becomes more permanent. We're going to just try and quickly get this all down. We're like halfway there. So I think it is. Oh, that was not smart. I just blew it all out of the way. I was trying to get something off the paper. So here I am right at the 6-inch line, just making sure that it's all kind of lined up as best as I can. I know with the waves it makes it a little bit more challenging to make sure it's straight. And you've got to make sure it comes all the way to this edge as well. Look, we're getting some great little waves here in the pink in between as well. Okay, let's do an orange. Whoops. Now, I can see here that this yellow is really crooked because here we've got it like a 1/2 inch difference. So I am going to pull this one up and I'm going to adjust it a little bit. I think if I move it over a little bit, I can get it a little bit closer. To where it needs to be. There we go. We've got some really thick pieces over here, but I think it works well with the kind of the ribbon effect. What we're trying to do here. Okay, let's do green. I'm going to put that the yellow one down first. And then we'll put this one, flip it around. So it looks like we're going to have a little bit bigger gap at the top, but that's not a problem because we can easily just take one of our other, I have a few more over here. Let's do a green. Let's do yellow. See how that works. And we might have it overlap a little bit, but I think I want to fill in that space a little bit more. And then we can trim it. Okay, so now it's all done. See how we've got all these things on the side? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just take our trimmer and lift our little piece up. It's kind of sticking a little bit. Okay, we're gonna just take our trimmer and I'm just gonna flip it upside down and I'm just gonna trim off the pieces that we don't need. So trim those pieces off and we're gonna turn it this way. We're gonna line it up with this cut line right here and trim all those little pieces off. Flip it around and do it on the other side. Whoops, moved. Okay. Get it? Oh, I think we need a little tiny sliver more. There we go. All right. Let's throw static clinging to this to my trimmer here. We'll just get those out of the way. All right, so now here's our frame. I'm just gonna put some adhesive right here on the back. So that will stick to my frame. Okay, and there we go. Now, our photos are supposed to measure 4 by 5. So I'm going to trim, I'm going to actually trim a little bit more than that off. I'm going to make my photos 3 3/4 by 4 3/4. So my mat will be 4 by 5s. And trim a little bit off of this side. It's important we keep the McDonald's because Grandma bought her McDonald's for lunch. You know, it's the important things, you know, like McDonald's. All right. Now, remember, this is the square that was in the center from our frame, and we're gonna cut these. I'm gonna make 2 frames. So I am going to cut first 5 inches this way, and then 4 inches to make a 4 by 5, and another 4 inches. So there's my 2 mats for my photos. So as you can tell, my pictures are just a little bit different. They're not vertical, they're horizontal. So that's a little bit different, but I can easily just kind of overlap them. And they actually tuck them kind of down into the little swell pieces. And I don't think I'm gonna do that. I kind of like it more on top. So I'm just gonna add those to my page. That, and see this little coral on her shirt is really dark pinky or coral, and kind of picks up that coral right there. All right, so now I don't have a ton of embellishments with this paper pack. I've used most of the little cutout embellishments that they did have. I do have this one little journaling box that I'm going to use. And I also think I have some paper flowers. So I'm gonna just kind of tuck this journal box right up in there. And then maybe put some paper flowers on it or something like that. Let's see, I have some also some really old, this is from the Delight. These are Delight paper flowers, but the colors on these flowers work really well with this It's a Girl stack pack collection. So what I'll probably do is put a couple paper flowers on here, because look how cute that is. There's this really cute pale pink one too that I'll maybe put down right here. And I think that's about it. So I'll just, this is going to be my journal box. I might do a cute little title right here. It'll take me a few minutes to get that done. So I think this is as close as we're going to get for today. Hope you guys love it. Super fun way to use up some of your scraps by doing these little swell pieces right here. Again, this is from the blog sketch from January 18th, so you can easily go on to the Creative Memories blog and find this sketch if you want to see it yourself. I hope you had fun watching me do this and hope you have some happy scrapping. Thanks. Bye.